And yeah, just welcome to the launch party of.
Yeah, totally. And so actually, sorry, Lincoln, I've got my I got Rishi here as well. She wanted to listen in too, so that's why you might get a little bit of an echo. I'm not on my headset, so apologies for that. So she can hear stuff as well. And yeah, no, we're stoked. I see we got a few people here, and I got to say, like, I recognize uh, like your aliases at this point, and I really have to express some appreciation for, I mean, just the early interest from you folks. I mean, this is something that I've been working on since I want to say, I guess it was August. I think I started in August, and then we were on vacation, and then it really went into deep development in September. So it's been pretty fast, really, when you think about it, moving through. So I have expected some glitches to come up, but my nightmare was like nobody can join, and I was like, it's going on. So I went in and had a look. It looks like it's fixed. It's just a lobby glitch, and I suppose I should expect some of this since we've only really been able to test with limited lobbies. I mean, we're a really small team, namely myself and anybody else who wants to help out. So I kind of was like stewing in my evening thinking, well, what's going to happen if we get multiple lobbies listed and then suddenly people can't get in? And sure enough, it wasn't a Steam outage in this case. That was just something we hadn't been able to test for very effectively, and I think I've got it. So fingers crossed. If it pops up again, I'll have another look. But I was able to get in pretty quick, and I think
Yeah,
remedy it. So yeah, but man, I like that like drives to my heart. I need people to play, right? Like once you make something, you want to see people enjoying it. And I'm a gamer myself, so I hate anything that interrupts that. In this case, hopefully it's up and going.
yeah, I know. Like, thank you everyone, and also for your feedback in the Discord. I know Steven's really appreciated that here. Also, just it's been great to see the engagement, at least just from the community moderation standpoint. Again, like we're kind of this is the whole new format right now, especially this meeting. Uh, if any of you guys, I don't know if you're familiar with the Discord events setup here, but at the bottom of your screen, there's a couple icons. There's one that says like request to speak. If any of you guys would like to, we'd love to have you on. It's a great chance to talk with you guys directly, and if you have any suggestions you want to ask the dev or myself, it'd be a great moment to do so.
Yeah, and we're going to try to do this relatively regularly as well. I've certainly been involved in early access products and well established products when the dev just disappears after a while, or the dev team is no longer available because the product picks up, start to get a lot of service requests, start just expanding, and it all becomes about expanding, and loses that personal touch, which is the whole reason I'm here anyway, which is to make a good product that again will be played and enjoyed, and the only way to do that in my eyes is that engagement. So we'll be here. We're going to be here and until this thing is finished, and then beyond. And yeah, maybe I don't know, Lincoln. What do you think? Like, does anybody have any questions, or do you just want to kind of listen to us
Yeah,
ramble?
we can go back and forth. But yeah, that's the whole point here is like, um, if you like to contribute and just speak, you can, or just listen to. Again, like it's pretty small. We just
I
started.
could talk nonstop for however long Lincoln says I should talk. There's a
Yeah,
hand there, Lincoln.
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll welcome you up on stage here. I'll approve your request. Oh, and just before I do, keep in mind here the server rules do apply to the voice chat. We prefer like keep it family friendly here. Thanks so much. All right.
Watch that hand go back down, right?
I invited you in. All right, welcome, Zenith. You can unmute yourself. And
Hey,
yeah,
Hear me, guys?
yeah, we can hear you just fine.
yeah, we
Um,
got you.
the question is, you do have future plans to release it on Quest, right?
Yeah, totally. It's a big part of our future plans. Like even on Steam, like there's a massive percentage of Quest users, and so I went into this project wanting to release on Steam first because at the time I didn't have an Oculus headset. I had the Index, and that was my primary build and test and play on HMD. And then along the way, I just started. I got interested in Oculus. I saw how well it was doing, and honestly, wires free is the only way to go with this kind of stuff these days. So the Oculus release is definitely coming. It's a high priority, but the issue for just me developing, like if I had like even another guy who could just work on the Oculus build separately, then that would be great in another thing, and we could kind of double up. But the idea is we know that this is early access. We know that a lot of changes are going to be happening very quickly with this game over the next couple of months. So I didn't want to start an Oculus native build at the same time as I was doing the Index and the Steam VR builds. Because it just doubles up on the workload, and obviously I want the changes that you guys voice as important to propagate first here before I do a whole other build. So that's a long-winded explanation of why I haven't done Oculus, but it's a really high priority. It's going to happen. I actually love my Quest 2. I was really surprised, not to get into a hardware discussion, because the Index is just so much more expensive. But just a bunch of months ago, I picked up the Quest 2 and I was like blown away via link. It's like, wow, no, we're moving this direction. We're moving this direction. I might even started that direction had I had one before I started developing.
Like I had the whole HTC Vive set up, got the wireless, and I was blown away once I got the Quest 2 and realized I can just slap this thing on and play.
Yeah.
And Creed was probably the only multiplayer game I ever enjoyed playing. But the problem that Creed fell into was when it did release for the Quest, I quickly learned that it was not cross-platform, which kind of killed the player base when it's already small. I'm wondering if that's going to be a concern with this game as well, or you'll build it for Quest, but it won't be cross-platform.
So just careful with the cross-platform versus the cross peer-to-peer networking. That's something that pops up a lot because it's already like with it being on Steam. As long as people have Steam, they can play with each other. So if we're talking about cross-platform, as in it being the Oculus Store versus the Steam Store, they're two very different networks, and they just don't communicate with each other. So I'm looking at it. I would love to be able to do this. I can't say 100%. Yeah, we're gonna have product that works between the two stores because honestly, I don't know enough about the interaction between the two. My understanding is they're closed networks. So in order to communicate between people who would like purchase it on the Oculus Store versus people who purchase it and then use it on Steam, is that we need a third-party system to handle the peer-to-peer interactions that are independent of both of those systems. So that's not necessarily difficult to create, but it is a third-party system. So like right now I'm looking at, okay, we've got to get this through early access. We got to look at all the comments that are coming in, really make this game good because it's early access right now and hopefully promising, but yeah, early access. The next step is to build native for Oculus so that we can get away from these Guardian issues and height issues and controller issues for Oculus that pop up just because it hasn't been designed for Oculus.
I just want to step in real quick and say,
go ahead.
Especially right now, like something we've kind of discussed in the chat as well is, yes, it is technically possible to play on the Oculus right now, and we understand like a decent chunk of the members in the server are exclusively playing it on the Oculus, but it's something we do want to stress is that it's not officially supported. As like Stevens is describing right now, there are some challenges to it. And that's just, we want to make that clear. Like, that's why the community section is also there, and then there is a community is like members can help each other. Going forward, we would love to help every problem that everyone has, especially when it becomes to like trying to get to work in the Oculus, but it's just something that we can't do with time constraints. But I just wanted to add that in. It's a housekeeping
Yeah, that's
item.
why I restrained myself from making any comments because I read it from the start, not Oculus supported. So it's like with any issues that I run into, I can't really be like, well, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. Well,
but please do record that, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna take it back there, Lincoln, just because it isn't like it super is important to me to try to. I mean, Lincoln's right. We can't support it because it hasn't been built for that. So it's just going to be kind of like an endless chain of stuff that could pop up. I did test with my Quest 2 and like it works really well. I don't have any issues, but it's not like I can kind of step up and then claim that we can deal with everything that happens because of the link, right? Because it's working via the Oculus app that you got to launch, and then communicating with Steam VR, and then into the game. So there's just too many combinations of things that could pop up for me. But then just right back to that your previous question, step 2 is that native Oculus build for Steam, and then there's a full different build that has to happen for the Oculus Store, because it's a different network, of course. So I got to pull out all of the Steam API calls and everything that makes the multiplayer work with Steam, and build in the stuff that works native with Oculus on their store. And that's not necessarily a big deal. It's just work, and there's just one of me. So as soon as I can, I will, but I don't want to do it until this one's stable. So I just have to kind of like make that one migration. And then the last part of your question was, okay, interaction across platform between the two. I can pretty safely say that we're going to be able to play with people who have either headset on either platform, but it may not be like via Steam and then via the Oculus Store. It may be a third-party lobby manager that we've written, perhaps, or maybe there's a third-party solution out there that we can just subscribe to save us some time. But the idea is we need to establish peer-to-peer and list lobbies, for people who are on those different platforms. Again, not crazy difficult, just a whole other third-party or in-house solution that needs to be provided for that.
And do you think that's like kind of answer your question in terms of Oculus in it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for ruining Creed for me. This game's awesome.
But it's just like, and every time somebody gives us some great feedback like that, man, it just stokes the fire, right? And because we know how rough it is right now, and when I'm looking at where this can go and what's in my head for what's very possible, even in the next couple months, like, just keep in mind, this did not exist as of August. There was nothing. There was not one line of code. Well, there was a line of code. I had some multiplayer code that I had written earlier, which came into this game to make us move a little bit more quickly, but nothing as far as the boxing world and or any of the visuals, anything, just some of the multiplayer framework that I had already written. So yeah, really stoked. I mean, this is just, it's going to get better. I'm looking at the stuff that's coming in via the network today, via Discord, I mean, and it's all really valid feedback. Different people have different ways that they want to play their games, and that's valid. So I just want to try to, I guess, create a forum for those options. So people who want to play with them in game because they want to tire out their opponent because they've earned that, I'm down with that. That was my original thought, right? But some people, they don't want that. It's too much like an arcade game. They just want that randomness that comes with the crit hit, how well it was delivered, did it take their opponent down, and that's it. Thing is, when we were running our tournament, it was just a lot of people standing around when people get knocked down, including the guy who was down, right? So you'd wait for the count, and then neither people knew whether they were getting up. There's still a little bit now of that, but at least you get a chance to put in some activity and earn your way back up. So anyway, doesn't matter what I think. Honestly, it comes down to what you guys think, and so we'll definitely have the option to turn off that knockdown routine.
I know it's something you also talked about in the Discord as well, like just responding to people. But in terms of like coming features, the kind of priority of new or changes to the feel of the game, what would you say is like the number one
It's super
priority
super
right
quad.
now?
It's actually been on my brain all day. As soon as we had some people coming up about game feel, which obviously is going to be rough in early access because that matures with people playing the game, and we don't have a lot of people playing yet. But the feedback's super valid. The priority is that, honestly. I've just shifted gears even today with stuff I was planning to do tomorrow to just start working on game feel, because people are going to come in with the same thoughts. People are going to come in comparing it to the good boxing games that are out there, namely that's Thrill of the Fight and Creed. And both developers in their own right have done a brilliant job putting together those titles and kind of innovating some path forward for people who want to work on VR boxing. In particular, Thrill of the Fight, they did a great job with the feel of the impacts and the hit reactions of the opponents, and blending that all together with their rag dolls and their animations. It's stupendous what that team did. And so my goal is not to emulate that. Like, I don't want to copy anybody, but I do want to provide a simulation type feel to the boxing game, and that just naturally moves towards having great hit reactions, having good animations that are blended. But that's complex. So it's just going to take some time. All the framework is here. The framework is there to do that and to polish it up, which is why we launched. But yeah, animations are going to be stiff. The AI is going to be wonky. There are going to be disconnects and problems like that to start, which is why I appreciate everybody here who came for this talk and this listening, and everybody who's picked up access to early access, because you guys know that. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and honestly, I was amazed today that people could just log in
Yeah,
and play
that was
with
pretty cool.
just log in and play with each other. And I was like, what's going on? This isn't my nightmare quite yet. And then and then it started with that first disconnect, which I do want to check in on and make sure is not still holding people up. But anyway, like a great question. The priority is, what do the players want? That's the priority. They come in. You guys say, hey, this doesn't feel right. When I punch my multiplayer opponent, his fists don't move. There's no resistance, or I hit the AI. And the fists don't move back. That's very much part of what makes a boxing game feel great. And yeah, we're not there yet. We will be, and it won't take us too long. But yeah, one thing at a time. That's the priority. We'll make it feel great. That's what I want.
And just on a note of like what the players want, I just want to stress, guys. I do try to say it in the chat, and also like whenever you guys are talking about features you like, as we start growing, and also like from launch day, the chat's been getting quite a bit busier. If you have any suggestions or any like tweaks to the game that you would love to see, please go to the suggestion channels. There is a format. There is an example at the top in the pinned comment. It's basically a run through a Discord bot. All of that allows us to see it in a clean manner, and people can vote on it, so we can decide what the players want and what the dev may decide to work on first. I will try and hammer this home every time I can, especially with growing quantity of suggestions. But that's just more of a housekeeping note. I just want to add it into the conversation.
Yeah, and it's a good point. It just makes us more effective in dealing with the suggestions. And honestly, now's the time. It's so much easier to build stuff in now at this point. So all of you have the opportunity to actually have your voices shape this game. And that's a really unique feature of the early access offered by Steam. The downside is there are going to be hiccups. There just will be. I hadn't been able to test more than like a couple lobbies at a time before tonight, and that's what introduced the dropout this evening. But yeah, stick with it is all I can say, because I'm active here, and when something comes in, it doesn't take me usually long. I mean, there will be complex stuff that throws me, but I'll certainly be focused on making the experience as good as possible. It's the only reason we're doing the game. Only reason.
Also, just a question for you, just kind of general, kind of related to the game tangentially, is I know we already have like a few people that do some streaming on Twitch and things of the game, and just curious to see kind of would you encourage people to stream the game to Twitch? I know there's some people like sharing servers that like they have some leagues going on or tournaments and such. So something you would like to see, or videos about the game? Kind of what's your view on community interaction in that way?
Oh yeah, well, I think games like this live and die on community interaction. It's one of the reasons I spend almost all my entire day in the Discord, just trying to observe and not actually make changes. Is that the game will just not, it won't go anywhere if people don't play it and if they don't know about it. And we already heard enough that way with marketing, because we don't really have a marketing department. We can't afford one. I mean, it's just me and Lincoln's helping out, and all of Lincoln, all your time and effort, I know, and running the Discord's been greatly appreciated, because I probably not have any community whatsoever at this point. If it was just me, I would just have a game that nobody knew about. So yeah, community is everything. Just like a real gym, it's a community of people, and that also is the driving force behind this game. I'm way too tired of this pandemic, which is pretty much, hopefully, quote, knock on wood, whatever you want to do, done. But we need that connection, and one of the ways, obviously, everybody in here connects is by playing games and by boxing. So let's bring those two together. There's not a whole lot of great solutions out there. I'd say Thrill of the Fight for boxing, but Thrill of the Fight 2's, we don't know when it's coming down. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but I also didn't want to wait for it. I wanted to put out another solution that would kind of come up and offer a balance between the solo play of Thrill of the Fight and the multiplayer play of Creed, both of which I've played and enjoyed for various reasons. But I was looking for something kind of in the middle that would offer that really good feel of games like Thrill of the Fight to the multiplayer audience. And it's technically difficult for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is kind of like the one that's popping up right now, is how does it feel in multiplayer? Because remember, your controllers are all being driven by someone's, not to get technical, but they're driven by the coordinates of those controllers, the HMD and the left and right controller, and that's driving it. So you got to find a way to kind of fake the resistance on it, because you can't push on it and then push the other person back. It just doesn't work like you're glove to glove in a real ring, right? So anyway, that's not on you guys. That's up to me to figure out. And I got some ideas. We'll make it happen. I'm just, I'm not going to give a timeline on it, but I expect the next couple of weeks we're definitely going to see some improvements on feel, and I'll definitely have an update up tomorrow on just some of the little stuff. Like someone was asking for like a label on the towel.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff's an easy push. I mean, that one's not too bad. There's some other easy ones, like skipping the knockdown routine. That one I just want to be cautious of, because as soon as I go in and make changes, just the way it works right now, there's just a lot of functions that are moving back and forth. So I'm hesitant to just drop in the option to switch it, because I don't want to break everybody's game again, right away. So I'll have a close look at it, and I will be posting shortly. This is kind of the first I've mentioned it, but the beta access codes, so that anybody who wants to see the new changes before everyone else can just hop in. It won't cost you anything. You've already paid your dues by opting into early access. Really appreciate it. But you guys just choose whether or not you want to be in the earlier beta, and I'll put the code up. You can join it with your Steam account preferences and your client and whatnot, and then you'll get a chance to give feedback on that stuff before it hits and potentially breaks everybody else's game. So we'll test it thoroughly that way as well. But I owe the ability to do that testing to all of you. It's not something I can do by myself. So, kudos, respect, grateful for that.
I wanted to also ask, also Fire Raven, Ice Bear, and Glitchrick, see you guys in the audience. I know Glitchrick, at the time we've been talking about this, I saw you added a suggestion there to the suggestions channel. I'll just read it out now because we're here anyway. I know there's a few people requesting the use of mirrors in the game. I understand that there's one in the lobby, but Glitchrick's specific request was to be able to make the character turn. Would that be something that could be done in the future, so someone can view their character from different angles?
Oh, okay, I got it. Cool. Yeah, let's do it. I hadn't even thought of that. Another great reason for forums like this. Yeah, my brain's just going here. Easy to do. Right? Easy to do. It's just not something I've included yet. Another thing that kind of speaks to that great suggestion is being able to switch between Southpaw and Orthodox stance. Right now, like I've got a kind of like a half-baked solution in there. It doesn't work for me yet, which is why your feet are kind of looking funny in the ring. But when you switch gloves, it does switch. It's just not a good solution. So I'll try some other stuff. I've even considered maybe even doing a button press to switch. It's just I'm trying not to break the illusion of just having your gloves on. It'd be nice if you didn't have to think about anything other than boxing, and if we could just pick up stance basically from maybe fist orientation to the HMD. So yeah, being able to rotate is a great suggestion. I also need to find at least a temporary fix for the Oculus guys on reorientating their character within the Guardian, because the Guardian just does not. It's not it's not just Oculus. I mean, obviously it's Oculus and Steam, and this has just been an ongoing issue for quite a while. There are things that a developer can do to ease that, and I'm going to start looking at that now that I know we have such an interested Oculus base, so that you don't just have to wait for that build that's going to be native. There will be some, even though it's not officially supported. I know Lincoln was going to chime in there. I do want to try to ease it in and make it very playable. I mean, that it is important to me that as many people as possible can enjoy it, and there's a lot of Oculus users, and Quest 2 is a great HMD. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. Partially. Let me just finish up that line of thought. Rotating your character, so it's kind of in line with just moving around the VR rig within the game. And I was thinking, of having maybe a button for Quest users that just reorientates in the center. Kind of like we got other games that do that. There's no reason why we can't. I just haven't looked at it yet. But I think that'll be coming soon too, just to make it more enjoyable. And with that, being able to maybe rotate your avatar so that you can have a side view, or maybe what about a corner that has mirrors?
Yeah, like I guess that's more in line with what kind of customization options are going to come eventually
Yeah.
to avatars. What is kind of a vision do you have for
What a
that?
question. You guys want to go there? Do you want to go down that rabbit hole right now, or do you, like?
You can like
I don't
touch on
know.
it lightly. I know that could be hard, but that thing that's kind of the larger
Before we do go down that
conversation.
rabbit hole, I do have another suggestion that just came to mind.
Yeah,
Okay,
please
please, yeah,
ask.
shoot.
Yeah.
So, suggestion first. While I was boxing somebody, I realized him as the host, he's able to view me and see the timer.
Yeah.
At no point in time, I was able to see the timer. So, when you fight, and when you see those last 10 seconds, you kind of want to go all out. So I had to orientate myself around him to be able to see the timer as well. So as the
Interesting.
You don't want to have to fight to see the timer. Come on, that's part of the game. No, I'm kidding. This has come up before, and it's something that it's an easy fix, and I just got to do it. Either having a second timer. The problem is in the smaller venues, right? And we only have the one home gym venue right now. In the big venues, it'll be like a big Displaytron kind of thing where it'll be easy to see the time from any angle. But in these smaller gyms, and we're planning to have 3 smaller gyms, then we do need a way for both players to see the timer. So I was thinking of maybe just mirroring the timer on the other side of the ring, so both players could see it easily. You could probably, I might even have that in tomorrow. Knock on wood. Let's just see how it goes. But yeah, that's coming, and it's a great suggestion.
Dang, I can't remember. Oh yeah, I remember now. So with the way the scores are done, is the biggest emphasis on damage to win? Because I wrote a comment earlier and it got buried throughout the other comments. I couldn't really see if it was answered. A couple of my fights with these opponents, when it comes to precision, accuracy, control, I had more than double on every single one of them, but they did outdamage me, and either I lost or it was a tie.
Yeah. So the way it's set up right now, and I'm super open to looking at the judging. I mean, that's a pretty personal thing. We're trying to make it as close to the real ring as possible. I mean, and we know it's all virtual, and it is an AI, 3 AI judges. So here's how it works. If you get knocked down, that trumps everything. It doesn't matter then how much damage you've done. If you're down, the scores are deducted in the same way that they would be in a real match. With damage, it's hard. In real boxing, it's perceived damage, right? It's perceived domination. But if one person is taking like a significant beating, and it's very obvious that more damage has been done to them, then the judges will award the points to the opponent, the person who's doing the most damage. So damage does trump everything else right now. Whether or not we want to look at that down the road and adjust it, hey, I'm super open to. But it's only when the damage is super close, like really close right now, that will the judging kind of go over to all of those other stats. Simply because, when I'm watching boxing, it's really hard. It's such a subjective thing to determine. You can usually tell who's controlling the ring by their aggression, but if both are evenly matched, the damage seems to be even, then really what's being judged. And it kind of sometimes even comes down to a bit of a judge bias, right? And there is a bias mechanic in the game too. We'll see how that works for everybody. Again, it only comes into play if there's a tie, and it's only a very small fraction of the time. I just wanted to add a bit of that realism. But yeah, no, to answer your question, it's been a long-winded answer already. It's damage will trump all stats.
So yeah, with that being said, again, this boils back to Oculus is not supported at the moment. Creed being the only game I played in VR, I do notice playing Creed native on Quest, punching, just striking. I don't have to throw such a more of a power strike as I do compared to playing over Airlink on Steam. So that will give Oculus players just a heads up right now. People that are playing Oculus through Airlink at a disadvantage because you have to throw more of a into it to get the significant power.
Do you think it's more of a
Right.
sensitivity thing?
That's fascinating. You know what? And I haven't played on Airlink, but I can take a guess at why that's happening. And it's got to be a drop in the relay of the force between the controller and your processor, whether that's your PC or whatever's receiving your Airlink, right?
Mhm.
So that's probably what it is, because the way we're tracking force is, it's continuous. And if that drops out at any time or is not accumulating, or the controller sensing the force is different because maybe there's just a little bit of lag introduced on the air link, then that would make
Yeah.
a lot of sense that the punches need to be harder. We're not trying to make you work harder, believe me. But
Well, it's
that's,
a great workout at the end of the day. It just the
yeah,
Airlink
either way,
players will be
right?
disadvantaged with the power punches.
Yeah, this might just be like a technology needs to keep up kind of situation where we're just waiting for the VR headsets, and there's a whole slew of them coming down. They're going to be wireless, without having to rely on more experimental technologies, right? Like Airlink. Like once that, I think, kind of levels off, then we'll see it catch up. I mean, there maybe are some things that I could look at. Yeah, my brain's going here on like how I could calculate force. It's just I don't want to really rewrite the whole mechanic because we got some on Airlink and some on cable and some not even on Oculus. Like I'd like to try to keep it obviously as even a playing field as possible.
Yeah.
No, it bears thinking about, and that's a really interesting point. I've never even thought of that. So
I got a question here, more in the holistic sense for the game. I know some gamers may be familiar with the whole concept of microtransactions. At least this point in time, do you have any? Um, do you know if the game will ever require microtransactions for cosmetics or any other type of thing? At least at this point in time.
there'll never be a fee other than what you pay to buy a game. I'm against it in every sense of it, and it's completely kind of like against the spirit of what I'm trying to do here with this game, with build a community. I'm not out to nickel and dime people. It's why we didn't make it super expensive, and it's also, um, yeah, it's just no, there'll never be what you can get in form of game currency, because we got the virtual calories, we got the virtual cash, is all skill earned, and it will never be different than that. Yeah, hope that answers it.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm pretty sure I knew the answer. I just felt like it'd be a good time to like kind of let everyone else know kind of what the game stands for in that sense. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a good time to like get us to drop our entire audience, such as it is, right? Like
Right.
future charges for future content. No, there will never be. It doesn't, like when this game, all the way out, whatever comes out for it, all of the content builds, everything. Anyone who's a part of early access is entitled to, and anybody who buys the game in the future will be entitled to. We're not gonna we're not gonna be charging anything more.
Do
uh,
you have a planned date of when observer mode will be added? Because that's when
Uh,
you're going to end up on VR Master League and
yeah.
yeah,
all
that's
these
when the
other
stuff
big.
gets stale.
So here's my only issue with that. I my vision of observer mode is a little bit more complex, I think, than like a standard observer mode. Like I really am picturing it like multiple cameras moving around and giving and switching up, and kind of like that live broadcast feel. And so in order to get that working smoothly will take a little bit more time than just kind of like popping down an audience camera and giving people an angle. I'm going to start experimenting with it really soon. I wouldn't commit to saying, hey, it's going to be out in like 30 days. I also have some time commitments that are going to pull me away from really quick development on the game, at least for probably a period of about a month, starting in about a week. My wife and I are having our very first baby, and so I got to give family focus there. So that'll take a little bit of my time away. I'll still be working on it pretty hard, but obviously got to balance that work life and also my commitment to everybody who's taken a chance at joining us for early access. It's coming. I'm excited about observer mode. You're absolutely right that it really grants a perspective that will get audiences interested. I would say it's right up there with the game feel. We need both of those things to really build this audience. It needs to feel great, it needs to play great, and it needs to look great for people who want to come in and watch and record and stream. So it's a high priority, but I'm afraid I don't have a date for you. I would probably say we'll have observer mode within 2 months. Like
Yeah,
I think
it's hard
I
to
would say
promise though.
that's probably very likely. But we also could have it in 3 weeks. I don't think it'll be longer than 2 months. I hope that helps.
More of a general question for that though. I know, like you said, the form is still undetermined. But something like I thought might be interesting. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear. Like I know Ice Bear actively streams VR games, among other things, with other people streaming stuff. With observer mode, do you think it'd ever be possible to have it so a person running it on their client side may be able to, on the same instance of their game, have that observer mode open? So they may share it with other people.
Yeah, I don't see why not at all. I mean, that one's not super difficult. Like that, yeah, it's just a matter of exposing some stuff once observer mode is going. So like, totally. I would go a hard yes on that for sure.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. I saw you in the chat there. Anyone is welcome to join the panel here. And when there's a button at the bottom to request. I see you guys talking in the events channel. Fix if you have any questions. But yeah, thank you for answering the question there. Okay, I'm gonna kick you off for now, Zenith. Back to the audience,
Yep.
and we're gonna add in Fix.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and then again, please keep it at PG-13. And you're invited to come on. You might have to accept it. All right, hey, welcome, Ice Bear.
Hey, man.
Can't hear you quite yet, Ice Bear.
Sorry, there we go. I got this microphone with like a kill switch or something.
No
I
worries.
press the button sometimes and never remember.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, I mean, sorry, no questions actually, but I just wanted to say that, my God, man, this is awesome. I've been playing it all day. I think you've seen, and we have a whole nother Discord with about 200 people that, various games. They like all the other boxing games that are there. Some of the not necessarily boxing, but just combat games, and we've all had our eye on this game for quite a while. Once we heard about it, we saw it on the store Steam page. We've been talking about it, and it's been a blast so far. I think a lot of your ideas are really unique. Like we haven't seen them before in other games. I haven't really thought about it before. Domination of the ring, the way you calculate things, loving the virtual calories in exchange for getting gear and stuff in the future. It's a fun way to kind of set workout goals, and it really shows if someone has something that costs a lot, like they really put in the work for it. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, I gotta say, Ice Bear, like seriously, you've been a breath of fresh air throughout all of this. Like for the last couple days, like this kind of event game launch is never stress free, and having somebody like you, and there are others on here as well who have been so positive and effing upbeat about something that hasn't even launched yet has really like it makes me just want to go to the ends of the world to bring the features out. Like it's an amazing feeling, and I just got to say thank you so much, for encouraging the team here because we're brand new, on this title, and we do need that support. And at the end of the day, we're human beings too, and hearing stuff like that, we'll make a hell of a game just to meet your expectations because of that kind of attitude.
Also, like, I was at work today, and I'm just looking at the phone, just watching the Discord, and I honestly, it's very early stages, as we've just said, but it's great to see the positive nature of the community. Hopefully, that's something we can keep as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might not be able to see it, but there is a lot of other people that have been interested in this game. But of course, it's early access. They have some reservations. They're kind of waiting, but there's a large pool of people that are ready to jump in when.
Well, and I would tell people not to rush. It does take a certain amount of patience to join an early access game. And the last thing that I would want, and I even posted up on the main store page tonight, actually, is just a disclaimer there saying, hey, we're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. We, if you want to join us for early access, please do. Here's where the game is. That's the whole reason the other night I just did that kind of tour, was that this is what it looks like. We're not trying to sell something that's not ready. We're trying to get people involved at an early stage so that when it is ready, it's just a great product. And so, well, it's really super amazing to hear that there are people kind of sitting in the wings. We don't usually see that, right? Unless you guys tell us. So you want a dev team that's going to work hard. That's the way. That's the way to get her to go.
Yeah,
So.
and I just also want to say too, it's like, especially like as Stevenson mentioned, like there is no marketing department. This is the extent of the marketing department of the game, and like as we go forward,
You're
and
all
like,
hired.
yeah, you're all hired. As we go forward, right, and the game gets more developed. Again, it's early access, but if you believe that, like, with your own experience, that the game merits, I guess a recommendation, it's always appreciated, right? And even among those, like on the other servers, we are trying to implement features here that you can like easily share, like the boxing updates is now in a format I believe that you can add to any other server if that's something you want to follow. But yeah, if you ever have any comments with that too, like we also want to help other people that have existing communities in this space. We want to build that relationship there as well.
It's about servicing the community. I mean, it's the only way a multiplayer game will ever find any amount of success. So yeah, no, thank you so much. Like, it's been greatly noted and appreciated, and the advice and feedback from everybody has been valuable. We're genuine in wanting to receive it. It's not always easy, right? It's not always easy to hear, that something's not working as well as you hoped it would, but it's still early too. So as long as everybody's kind of joining us with the same expectation, then hey, we're all on the same page and we will get there. And it won't take too long. Again, 0 to like, it's been 6 months and this is where we are. I think of what another 6 months could potentially look like. That blows my mind, and that I'm excited about.
I see Fix has his hand up. Thank you, Iceberg, and the movie to the audience for now.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And yeah, let's hear what you gotta say, Fix. Love to have you up. There should be a button at the bottom. You did request. I did approve your request. So you should be able to click it and join in to the conversation. And again, if you can't figure it out, that's fine. Oh, there you are. Fantastic. You might have to unmute yourself.
You're welcome.
Welcome in.
Is it work? There we go. Oh, for the game in career mode, will there be like a social media thing like UFC 4 has, where you can get called out by like other boxes and that?
I haven't given too much thought yet about the interaction within the game. I kind of originally had pictured it that it would mostly take place on places like Discord, and then you'd set up the match. But I'm for it. It's just a matter of putting in the development time, and
Yeah.
if that's what people want, again, honestly, I'm gonna do what people want as long as it's within the realm of technical feasibility, and pretty much everything is. You get the cross-platform stuff's a little bit more difficult, but yeah, no, I think it would be great. My concept of like title matches, and like I would really like to have, and this is a bit further down the road. We got to get basics working smoothly first, but I would like to have kind of like that player pool where we have, the EOC championships, and it's streamed and authorized by the game, and then other people will have their own private club bouts as
Yeah.
well, their own titles. I have a feature that's coming along. That's actually, you can get pendants and banners to hang from your local gym of the victories that you've won, which will start to customize the look of that home gym for people.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to have a trophy case, which would be another area within the gym that you can just kind of like teleport over to, that would have different victories depending on the match and title that you won, as well as belts, of course. So all that stuff is coming. So I'd say the answer is yeah. As far as being called out within the game framework, probably. I need to think about it. There's no reason why we can't do it. It's just a matter of usually having another server. Would have to be one of ours that's just handling all of that,
Yeah.
because it's external to any client, right? And it has to persist in between the clients in order to offer that. So that's going to be another server. So I would think so. It's a little bit early for me, but I would love to do that. I mean, again, another reason why we're doing this game is to make it social, and all of that kind of interaction is social. And it's all part of the boxing world as well. It would be really nice if we could, again, we want to do custom ring walks, right? I got some neat ideas for that too. It just doesn't work for our first venue because it's not big enough. But when we get into larger venues, having custom ring walks, people coming down, especially after you've been called out, man, that is going to be a time, right? So
Yeah.
we're working towards that. Yeah.
Also, another question. For the gym, is there like when the game's like fully finished, is there gonna be a way where you can customize like your gym like?
Yeah, that's kind of to a degree. I don't know to what degree, but yeah, I mean, it may end at at the place where I kind of was mentioning before, where your kind of like your awards accumulate. You got your trophy wall, you've got your display cases or whatever. I kind of see that as being at least the basic customization. It has crossed my mind because I'm a big fan of just building sims as well. So it'd be really nice to incorporate. What I got to watch out for, because I do tend to be pretty eager, is overcommitting to stuff
Yeah.
that takes away from the core mechanic of what we're trying to accomplish with the game. So you got to watch how many different genres are kind of incorporated. I'm a huge RPG fan, right? And so I would like to have solo mode play a part there. And I almost thought that, well, if it's not the gym that you're customizing, maybe it's that first room where you kind of start. When you create your avatar, maybe you go back there, and maybe that is something that increases as your wealth and reputation as a boxer increases. Maybe you get better digs, right? But there's so much work to do on just the little things, such as making it feel good when you punch somebody properly, that I'm hesitant to say this will be customized and that'll be customized. I mean, where I stand on it. I would love to do it, but my priority first off is, let's just get this game feeling like the best boxing game there is, and then with the multiplayer on top of it, that's complex, and will take a little bit of time. But one thing after another. But I'm open for sure.
Yeah.
Could totally
And
see
like
that.
quick question on regarding community stuff. I believe like in terms of priorities right now, it's like make sure works. The feel is pretty solid. The quest kind of connection
Priority
is
number one
improved.
is people getting the multiplayer
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Holy, that's priority number one. Speaking of which, does anyone know if that's up? Because I haven't been able to test it other than just here. Like, can people get into the lobbies again?
Yeah, if you guys just
Anyone
want to
know?
comment in the events, that'd be fantastic. Because that's a pretty game-breaking bug.
Well, yeah. It's also a simple one on my side once I saw what it was. But anyway, sorry. Not where we are with this conversation. Yeah. But let me know.
I just want to say also is in terms of like community aspects, you would definitely say that in-game community, at least like matchmaking, is going to come prior to customization of like a gym. Like you might be able to find someone through a community type situation in the game at some point.
Sorry, how do you mean there, Lincoln? Like,
Uh, Basically, though, like right now, like you said, Discord's like a great place to find people and then go play the game. Do you think at some point there'll be
yeah, so it's kind of the
in-
same question,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, it's almost will something exist within the game itself? The only issue there is that, again, we're talking about an external server. So that's another piece of software that needs to be created to do that. And I'm not against it, but I do got to be a little bit realistic in that I got to get this game attracting players who want to be here because it fights well. Once it fights well, once all that feels good, once multiplayer's as stable as I thought it was. I mean, it was just some recent stuff that got stuck there. But once that is done, then we can start kind of reaching out. Again, a server right is a little bit later. I'm also anticipating some problems, right, with people not being legit with the in-game cache. I mean, it's not going to be difficult to exploit because right now everything's stored locally. So I mean, that's not secure. It's not meant to be secure. It's an honor system type thing. People can figure out how to screw with that. But what I want to do is have a server that will authenticate the cash transactions so that people aren't getting ripped off during their matches. Like, especially as you move up and you start to get the higher titles, then, the amount that you got to put up to play that match is going to be significant. And I don't want people feeling ripped off with the in-game cash because some other dick is, just cheating and is changing currency. So again, yeah, there is going to be an authentication server, at least to handle cache. I see that also expanding quickly at that point to handle matchmaking for title matches, right? So that kind of answers, I think, your question a little bit. As far as being able to communicate and set up those matches, we'll see, quite potentially, because once that server is there and running, and I have a little bit more of an idea of what that looks like, then I can speak more authoritatively about what the functions will be. But it's just a little early. I could say yes, external server CAF authentications to help get rid of to help it make our players feel more secure and to handle title matches. But I'm not sure yet about the challenges. Well, I would think so, but let's not overcommit too early.
Yeah, and also like just for transparency and like not transparency, but it's clarity. I know it's been discussed other places, but when acquiring the cash in the game, you can always acquire it from the base level matches, and then as you go up, that's when stuff starts getting real, where you're putting money on the line, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And the pro matches should work. Quote, air quotes, should. They've been tested, but nobody's tested beyond the first two titles, right? So I don't know. Like, I don't know what happens after. I don't know if it progresses up logically like it should, or we've tested multiplayer quite a bit, but not that advancement. So those are some of the new features that I'm sure we'll be hearing from work or don't work as people expect to get a title and then do or don't. But again, early access, and we'll shore all that up before the bulk of our mainstream audience hits with full release. But yeah, you got it right. So I've actually got some concepts that are coming, which I'll mention briefly here, to earn money within that virtual money within the game. I mean, the ultimate point is to challenge and host the multiplayer matches, which will lead to the title matches and stuff like that for high stakes, because it's a lot of fun to get into that match. At least I find it fun when there's something more on the line than just your physical activity for the day and your bragging rights, right? I mean, that's important. Don't get me wrong, but it's even more fun when, hey, you've got spectators and the title's on the line, and oh, by the way, the match purse is 250,000 cash in game. So that's fun, right? And that's where this is going. And so you can earn cash in game by fighting the AI. You won't be able to advance your title beyond a certain point by doing that. Like, I really want to save that for PvP, and like, your reputation is earned. The AI, I certainly plan to have it be very difficult. Now, this heat-seeking head stuff that's going on today, I'll pull that out pretty soon. Again, all beta test with the AI, right? You can block it, but if you weave right now or you dodge or whatever, he's still going to hit you. That'll be out within the next week probably. I actually had it set so that when you're fighting the AI, it would miss before, but I found it too easy, and probably I just went too far in the other direction. But we'll plan to have quite a large solo player mode by the time we go full on this release, and that'll be incrementally released, and everybody will see it. I mean, it's all included in buying into early access. But I see I see 20 AI. That's what I'd like to do. It's not difficult to do more AI. It will take me some time to do the character models for them. Speaking of which, if anybody wants to be a model in game, let me
hit
know.
him up,
Maybe we'll have a tournament where if you win the tournament, you're going to be one of the AI avatars, or something.
Oh,
like
there
that.
you go. Yeah,
We
that's
might
the
be able to
community
do
involvement.
We might be able to do something like that. But I'm looking at 20. I don't think that's unrealistic. The way I've developed the AI, even though it's a bit stiff right now, it's all done really. I think it's done nicely in object-oriented programming, where we can just derive more AI very easily from the base class, and it's just sliders. It's just sliders. What are his attributes, and then he or she, based on the artificial intelligence, will manifest itself based on the statistics of those sliders. So that's why it's taken longer to get it going. But at the same time, I don't have to go in and customize every single AI. I just have to create the model and then pump it in, and it's cookie cutter, and they all act differently because their stats are different. So that to me is exciting, and that is coming very soon. Again, we still got to do the fight feel. And the reason I haven't done more avatars, both for the player character and for the AI, is because it's not difficult to do those. What's difficult is making sure the code in behind is flexible enough to adapt and adjust very quickly to basically an infinite variety, at least with the AI. And with the player avatar, I know hitboxes and whatnot are something that I'm closely looking at. It all comes into the game feel, right? It's got to feel well. I don't want to duplicate something that doesn't feel right. Once the player avatar is hitting right and looking good and all that in multiplayer, then I'll go in and I'll add the rest of the different avatars for the player to select, and they'll be base models based on different ethnicities, so that we've got proper diversity. We need proper diversity in there, and also female characters. That was a hard one for me too. I strongly believe need that representation, yet I didn't like the idea, honestly, of hitting a female in game. So that was a hard one for me, but ultimately I decided we shouldn't be excluding anybody because of the way I feel about one thing or another, and everyone deserves the right to compete. So that it's critical that we get that in there.
And just generally here, would anyone else like to come up here? I know we were kind of going on the character in AI trained for a while. Anyone else would like to contribute? I understand y'all are in just opened up another match to test if it works. If not, I think we're kind of getting to that time where it might be, we'll call it the end of the first, dev chat, I guess you could say. What do you want to call it? I mean,
I don't know, like community interaction night. I don't know. I'm just actually in one of my test machines right now, seeing if there are any lobbies up. So sorry, I guess I got distracted there. I'm really keen to make sure that this is working for anybody who wants to play tonight. There is one other potential bug that I see with the lobbies, and I don't know if that is going to prevent people from getting in. I don't think so. It's working okay on my end, but that doesn't mean it will work publicly. So I think I've got the main one fixed, but I really want to hear if it is indeed. Let me just check this out. I got everybody on the line here, so apologies for doing that while we're looking.
Yeah, well, you do that.
Yeah, everyone's in here. That's right. Everyone who's playing is in here.
Yeah, everyone's in here. Else, and then along that note, I just want to say, guys, let us know. Did you enjoy this type of format? Is this something that you would like to see continue? At least I know I would love to have this happen maybe once every month or 2 months. It really depends on everyone's time availability, especially Steven's. But yeah, please give us some feedback in terms of that. Also, any things that you would love to see in the interaction things. I know we talked a lot tonight about features and changes and bugs that we love to see addressed and fixed and added. Um, but yeah, please always do not hesitate to you know, submit that suggestion or whatever. I see Kaden is going to talk in a moment, so we'll just wait for him.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Lincoln. And okay, Caden, welcome. Yeah. Okay, I'll turn it out. If Caden, you want to take it over, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to say.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this game. Like, I don't really have room to play right now, but I did finally get to like look around a little bit in the game, and it looks amazing.
Congrats on the 3060, man. Those are hard to find. Anything's hard to find right now.
You
Yeah,
coped to
it's like-
3060?
Yeah, I did. I
Damn.
got one from Memory Express like last
Yo.
month. Yeah, I got really lucky. Yeah, I was trying to run it on a.
Screw you, and all your friends. And yeah, no,
Yeah, thanks.
I've been trying to get a 3080 for my primary development machine. Right now, I'm on an RTX 2080 on my primary machine. I've got a 3080 in the laptop because the only way I could get one was to buy another computer with it in it. But yeah, I'm jealous because I have some other workstations I need to update and I just can't do it. So congrats.
Must be nice.
I'm envious. No, I'm envious that you're able to pick up the cards because I can't get them.
Yeah,
Dude, I
it
got
was
1660,
crazy.
man.
Yeah,
That's
I've been
fine
running
too,
like
well. Yeah.
I've been running like a
So-
GTX 1060 with 3 gigs of VRAM for like the past few years, so
Sweet.
this was a welcome upgrade.
Oh, I spare with the 1060. One day, one day with the upgrade. Hey, if you're running the game now, though, that's good. It's good to hear.
Oh yeah, I couldn't run Era of Combat with that card. It was just super warped. Nothing would work. So
Yeah,
I
the
popped this card
1060.
in. Yeah, with the 1060, it was unplayable.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't surprise me. I got a 2012 laptop here that I use just for holding lobbies, so I can so I can test, like more than just the 2 lobbies on my primary development workstations. But it's at like I think 3 frames per second. I don't know what's in it. It's some unknown NVIDIA card from 2012.
All right.
Anyway,
that sounds
anyone else have any
disastrous.
other questions? Or Caden, sorry, we interrupted you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, actually, I did have a question about like the multiplayer. Like, how exactly are you like running the multiplayer? Because I'm working on a PC game right now, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do multiplayer with my own server and stuff.
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So real briefly, you guys were involved when I was working on Obsolete about 2 years ago, right? So the multiplayer framework that I had developed for that game is what carried over and let us just jump right in so quickly into Era of Combat boxing. And so the multiplayer architecture is pretty standard. It's using Steam for the lobby management right now. In Obsolete, it was all done via a dedicated game server, so you would connect in through it. So the two different types there, right? That you get the dedicated game server, and here everybody's basically a client and a server, so that everybody can run independent matches, and it's just everyone's got pretty much the horsepower to do that on their PCs. But anyway, how it's working is you're listing your lobbies. And once you're in the lobbies, the game automatically connects the 2 players on peer-to-peer. So that's why the player doesn't have to do anything. It just detects when there are 2 people inside. One of them's the host, one of them's joined in, and then the connection happens, and they're both leave the lobby at the same time. It's all host authoritative there, and end up in the ring. At that point, the lobby's dropped, and peer-to-peer picks up, and it's all peer-to-peer. And there's quite a bit of traffic, actually. I found there's a lot more traffic. I mean, this is my first VR multiplayer game, right? So like the traffic's kind of obscene, which is why, if you're too far away, you're going to get some lag on your blocks and stuff like that. Because we're not just tracking, say, one player position and their orientation. We're tracking in 3D space the HMD, velocity, and everything that goes with it, including position, and the 2 controllers. And all of that has to be relayed fast enough that we look like we're having realistic movement. Like traditionally, you would lerp your network movements in between, so that you could really cut back on your network traffic. But in a game like this, I tried it. You can't do it, and the reason you can't do it is because it's so precise. Each hand movement, right, is a block or a dodge. It all comes, and they have to be as close as possible to where that opponent avatar's position is. So basically, we're serializing the packets and firing them across peer to peer as fast as possible. And I've just got my own kind of like packeting system that just relays across Steam that way. So all that's something you probably would write yourself. I just find I like having the control over it, so that's why I did it. Yeah, there's at one point there was a guy on YouTube a couple years ago that I was learning from who was did a really nice job with setting that up. I can't honestly remember who it was. But maybe we should talk, Caden, like
one-on-one in that type situation.
Yeah, one-on-one about that. I want to bore our boxers who don't care about peer-to-peer networking.
The logistics of it all, yeah.
Can TKO somebody, which I don't blame them for. You know, it's like not to speak for anybody, but it's good questions. But if you want to have a tech chat, like we can certainly do that, of course.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, on that note, I think we're gonna call it. Again, thank you to everyone here for coming in. I think all of you guys actually asked questions, which was fantastic. Yeah, please spread the word if that's something that you think the game deserves. And again, this will be posted to YouTube, so someone else would like to listen in. I will not be editing it whatsoever. So 1 hour podcast style. Goodness. All right, so thank you all for coming.
I see Glitchrick is in hosting too, by the way. So if someone wants to try to jump in and let me know. Really, since it worked all day and thanks again, Lincoln. Since it worked all day with the lobbies, I think the problem was introduced when we had 2 lobbies listed, and then something got crossed with my heartbeat detection. So I'm checking to see if people drop, and that led to the forfeiting. So again, my test seems to work. If it doesn't, please have some patience and just write some details about what is going on, and I will get to it as soon as possible to make sure that we can get multiplayer back up to where it should have been to start here. Okay, that's it. Let's close it down.
All right. Yeah. Oh.
All right. Jeez.
Oh,
cheers.
by the way,
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
I just jumped out.
So if you ever need someone to like do a soundtrack for your game, if you're getting more music, let me know because I make music as well now.
Brilliant, and glad to hear that too. I've licensed all the music that's currently used, but we'll probably be looking for some more too, right? Like I use Ben Sound for a bunch of the songs. He's got really good prices, so highly recommend that dude and his stuff because it's really good.
Right.
And
y'all.
Sorry, go ahead, Lincoln.
You guys, this is one-on-one. I'm ending the call. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. All right. Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much, Kane, and good night, everybody. I will keep an eye on it for the next little while. Hopefully, everybody gets in and gets some rounds. If not, I will certainly be hard at it tomorrow, making sure that it's up as soon as possible. Okay. Have a great night, all.
Yes.
Night.